What's up, guys? It's me, Jordan the Voices guy. We're back, and as you can see, we now have video because I bought a third-party charger on Amazon. So we have power. Let's use it. Uh, some big news happening this week. Not happening, I guess. Ooh, accidentally kicked a cord. A lot of news happened recently, at least in the Muppet world. Apparently, Fraggle Rock is returning to HBO. Now, it's really big news because Fraggle Rock has been on in reruns on a couple networks. It was on The Hub, which was a network that was around for a few years. It used to be Discovery Kids, then it was The Hub, and now I think it's Discovery Family. Yeah, they had Fraggle Rock reruns on there, and that's sort of... I mean, I knew of the show, but it was how I first watched the show, and I really enjoyed it. And then I would watch the reruns, I watch clips and whatnot, and then I think for Christmas, my mom got me the complete series, every single episode on DVD, the whole box set. She even got like the animated series, which not a lot of people know about. There was an animated series for Fraggle Rock. But yeah, it's a really good show. If you don't know what it's about, basically there are these little creatures called Fraggles, and they live underground in like these caverns and caves, and they like to work and play and sing and dance and have fun. And they're the main characters of the show, but then like their world is also inhabited by other small creatures whose names escape me, just like random ones. But then like there are three main species in their universe, I guess. They have the Fraggles, of course. Then there are Doozers. Doozers are these little green round guys and gals who do construction. They like have like little construction machines, and they build like big buildings with these things called doozer sticks, which are made out of radishes. And because they're made of radishes, which the Fraggles like to eat, the Fraggles will eat the buildings that the doozers build. Now you'd think, oh, the doozers are going to get mad about it. No, no, no. They like that the Fraggles eat their buildings because that means they get to keep on building stuff. So it's a really weird cycle that they have. But you might be thinking, well, where do they even get the radishes to make these doozer sticks? You probably weren't wondering, but you might have been. And they get their radishes at the Gorg's garden. You're thinking, well, what on earth is a Gorg? I'll tell you what a Gorg is. A Gorg is a giant creature that lives outside of the Fraggle caves. They're sort of these huge, giant, fuzzy creatures, and there's only three of them. There's Pa Gorg, Ma Gorg, and Junior Gorg. And the thing is, they're the only Gorgs, and for whatever reason, they believe that they are the rulers of the universe. And so they wear crowns and everything, and they talk about passing on the kingdom to Junior Gorg. So they're like these all high and mighty. Oh yes, we're the rulers of the universe, and they're ruling over nobody because they live on a farm, and they just grow radishes and squashes and whatnot. So it is kind of strange, but it's funny because you get to see these sort of delusional characters think that they're so important and so mighty, and they are mighty due to their size, but that's about it. Now the Gorgs, they grow their radishes. The Fraggles steal the radishes, and the Gorgs obviously don't like that, so the Gorgs threaten to, like, I forget if it was eat the Fraggles or just, like, capture them. I remember Junior being like, look, I caught a Fraggle. And that was, like, his whole thing. I caught a Fraggle. And then, like, he never ate them, because that would be gruesome. But he would always catch them, and then they'd escape. And the Fraggles would take the radishes, and then they usually eat them or give them to the Doozers. The Doozers would build things, and then the Fraggles would eat them. So it's this big, beautiful cycle. And you get to see how these different species interact with each other and, sometimes work together for a common goal. And there were other side characters, too. There was a trash heap, which makes very little sense. There were other, like, specific Fraggles, like, Cantus and Convincing John. All sorts of funny characters. And outside of that whole fantasy universe was the real world. And the only characters that we really got to know from the real world were Doc, who's an old man, and his dog Sprocket, who was also a puppet. And Sprocket was, just an old dog who would sit and try to sleep, whatnot. But then he'd see the Fraggles occasionally because one of the main Fraggles, named Gobo, would come out of the Fraggle hole, and he would retrieve postcards from his Uncle Traveling Matt. Now, Uncle Traveling Matt was another Fraggle who at one point decided to go into the real world and, discover things. Now, here's the kicker. The Fraggles thought that our real world was not the real world. They obviously thought theirs was the real world. For them, our world was called outer space. So Uncle Traveling Matt would go into outer space, and they'd do these remotes where they'd have Uncle Traveling Matt on a roller coaster or in a store at Christmas time, and he wouldn't know what was going on. He would describe it in however he interpreted it. So it was a very strange segment of the show. It would tie into the plot, whatever the Fraggle 5 was dealing with. And Sprocket would see the Fraggles, and he would bark into the Fraggle hole, and Doc, "Oh, Sprocket, shut up! There's nothing there." And I don't want to give anything away, but it was a good show. I just now realized I've spent 5 minutes explaining what the show is about. So, back to the original point. Fraggle Rock was a really good show, and it had a lot of metaphors for race relations, and the whole show, I guess Jim Henson had said it was supposed to be the show that ended war, and it was it was supposed to be about world peace, and it was very clever, it was very funny, it was a lot of fun adventure, a lot of great music, a lot of the songs people still sing these days. I still know a lot of the songs. It was just an all-around fun show to watch. Especially the theme song was, probably the highlight of the show. Everyone knows it. I'm not going to sing it because copyright. They probably wouldn't even care, but still. So I'm really hyped because they're going to digitally remaster the show and air it on HBO. I don't have TV here. But for the students, they have this TV provider that if you sign in with your student ID, you can watch TV. And I think there's HBO, but there's only 2 or 3 shows, so I doubt that we get it here. I think they have it on HBO Go, so I don't know. It might be $6 a month or something. We'll see. I don't know. I still have all the episodes at home, so it might not be worth it, but who knows. So yeah, if you get a chance, check it out. It's a really good show. I realized that not only is Fraggle Rock coming back to HBO, because that's where it aired in the 80s, but another sitcom, I guess Fraggle Rock wasn't a sitcom, but another show that was on HBO that's coming back is The Gary Shandling Show. Not The Gary Shandling Show. I wish that came back to TV. The Larry Sanders Show, which was also by Gary Shandling. Gary Shandling was one of the great comedians who worked in television for a really long time. He was very collaborative, liked to pitch ideas with other comedians and other writers. And he had a really good show called The Larry Sanders Show, which was sort of a behind-the-scenes look at a talk show. And it's sort of, supposed to represent talk shows that existed at the time, Johnny Carson on The Tonight Show and the Late Night with David Letterman, that sort of thing. And it sort of created the format of those confessionals you'd see on Modern Family or The Office. So, he was very revolutionary in television, and he sadly passed away, I believe in April, or March, April or March. And then HBO decided that they should bring the show back because I guess it was actually one of his last wishes. He told one of his friends that if he were to die, he would want the Larry Sanders Show to be in reruns on HBO. So if I get the chance, I really want to watch it. I've seen clips from the show. I've never seen a full episode. But from what I've heard, it's one of the best shows of all time. So yeah, if you get a chance to watch that, I'd check that out too. Because I'm sure it's going to be really good. So yeah, those are just a couple cool things. Fraggle Rock and Larry Sanders Show coming back to HBO. Probably won't watch Fraggle Rock because I already have all the episodes on DVD. Not with me though, so I'm gonna have to get those mailed in. Larry Sanders Show. If I get a chance, I'd check that out. So yeah, that's it for me. I recorded another podcast, but it was horrible, so I made this one on the fly. I might release the audio for the other one, probably won't. But if people want it, if anyone wants to comment to hear it, and if enough people want it, then sure, I'll release it. It's really horrible. It's just me ranting about how like good and bad my week has been. So there's that. Anyways, take care, everybody. I'm trying to find the right sign off because I recently signed off with "peace out," and one of my friends recently he will quote that over and over again, remind me of how horrible of a sign off that is. So my sign off, I guess, is so yeah, like it used to be. Bye. We got work to do.